Let's start this show off tonight with Al telling us about his awesome prop master gig in the latest Yellow Card video called Childhood Eyes.
So I don't know. I guess this was about a month ago. Yeah, I went on site to be prop master slash kind of do anything needed position for Yellow Card's newest music video, Childhood Eyes. It's available on YouTube's and all that, and it's awesome. It was a really fun time shooting it. Jordan Phoenix, a St. Louis native, was the director for it, and they actually flew to St. Louis to record it. We did it at this really beautiful like French villa up over by the what do you call it, where the two rivers converge, Confluence. So Confluence Farms over in Florissant, there's a farm, and then past that there was like this insane house, like, straight out of a kind of horror movie slash just, I don't know. It's it's like it hasn't been touched in a long time, and a friend of a friend of a friend owned the place, and we were able to shoot the whole thing. I had an awesome time. It was like a 2-day thing.
Jordan found the place and then recommended they use it, or did Yellow Card know about this place first and they wanted to come use it, or do you know?
No, so from my understanding, Jordan through our friend Tony had a friend who had a friend kind of thing who
Okay.
owns the place, and he was gracious enough to let us kind of take over. I mean, it was a full on production, man. It's the kind of the biggest video I've been a part of yet.
Right,
There you
There's
Shia?
go.
me, there's me. I did a thing. I'm valid.
That is a beautiful part of this city that
Yeah, it is.
most
Yeah,
people don't know about.
man. Real
But
quick story time here. Last Wednesday I work for a audiovisual company, and we got a call from the loading dock, which is a local bar
love the
on
loading dock.
the Illinois River, right? They're our customer, they're our client. So we did I you know I well, right now, all the stuff that's in there right now, I installed it. So anyway, they were having problems, and they're like, I think somebody stole one of our speakers, which was true. Somebody had ripped one of their speakers off and just took it with them. So from our
Hold on. So are
office,
we talking inside the bar restaurant or that outdoor stage area?
all of it. So
Oh, okay.
there's speakers all around it. So
Well, yeah,
there's
I knew that. I'm just saying, like, specifically
the
for
whole
this
thing.
story. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Go
The
ahead.
whole
Sorry.
thing. So somebody had stolen one of the outdoor speakers, just one of them, but they were also
Okay.
just having problems like, hey, this circuit's not working, these speakers aren't working. We don't know why. Like, can somebody come out? And this was at like 3:30 on Wednesday. And my boss was like, well, it takes about 45 minutes to get there from here in Overland if you drive. But if you're like me and you have a boat in St. Charles, it takes about 20 minutes from door to, from slip to slip, with a little bit
Yeah.
of walk. I was like, all right. So he's like, well, let's go on a trip. And then he calls his wife and says, hey, pack a cooler for me and Hal and meet me down at the dock. And she was like, okay, cool. So she packed a cooler for us. We met at the boat, and we were there in like, 30 minutes. We were there in less time, had a couple beers on the way, stopped through.
Wow.
And, oh, dude, it was beautiful out. There was nobody on the
Yeah, it's the
river.
best.
It was like the river was like glass. It was all smooth, and we were cruising. Damn, dude, I had a good day.
Well, like, how much of a trip is it? And I mean, I'm still at my age,
It's
still tripped out over this, that you can get to Illinois from St. Charles, technically speaking, faster
yeah.
than you can from St. Louis County.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Very much
It's a
so.
trip. It's a trip to even think about it, because when you think about, well, where's St. Charles? Well, it's on the very west end of what we consider St. Louis. And then where's Alton, Illinois, which is where the loading dock is? Well, it's east of the river. No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's it's very
Right.
it's just trippy, man. I remember the first time somebody actually showed me that, I was like, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, states are a lot closer. They're more conjoined than we even think about, just like from crossing from downtown into Illinois on the east side. Like, it's a little bit
Right.
more.
I, I think that's more like I think you realize that more when there's not a body of water, or a body,
Oh,
but
sure.
when there's not rivers, like, or major rivers, I should say, like huge ones that really split off the difference between Missouri and Illinois. So like we were in Kansas City this last weekend for Phase Fest. It's not just a phase. My wife wanted to see Dashboard Confessional. I she wanted to marry him instead of me, which I agree with. I would do the same. But it's just weird to me that like there's basically like houses that are like, here's Kansas, here's Missouri, and it's like across the street basically, or
Yeah.
it's just like it's such a alien thing around here because we have the river that gives us that delineation.
Sure.
And anyway, I find that super interesting because like you don't really think about it. I mean, anytime somebody says like, oh, you live in Kansas City, which side? Like
Right.
nobody asks that whenever you say, well, I'm from St. Louis. Like, I live in the other side of the river. I live in Illinois. If I say that I'm from St. Louis, like people just go by that because I'm 10 minutes away from the arch. Obviously, I'm just going to say I'm from St. Louis. If I'm on vacation or something, nobody's going to know where blah, 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 Illinois is,
Right.
So I could just tell them that I'm from East St. Louis. Closer to East.
We do have that cool thing though, with having the river though. Like it's beautiful up there. Like all those houses up on the bluffs and that overlook the loading dock and places like that. It's a very like it's one of the things. Like we were just at Forest Park. My wife and I went there 2 days ago. Just we had our little one. We had him in the stroller. We were just walking around. That part where Art Hill is. You got the water there, and like the fountains. It's every time we go there, I always like take picture like I'm a tourist because it's one of the things that I take for granted. I bitch about St. Louis all the time, but I feel like that's one of the places that I should be celebrating. So I always make sure to take the pictures of the things I love there, even though I've been there 1,000 times. Doesn't matter. I still think it's awesome. And I definitely like anytime I have someone from out of town, like, oh, we're coming to St. Louis. Where should we go? I'm always like, go to Forest Park and just cruise. Just kind of,
right.
Pack a cooler and just, cruise Forest Park for a little bit. Like, I think it's very cool. Anyway, but so like the river and the loading dock and that side of Illinois, which we still consider the Metro East of, it's very cool. It's again, one of the things you kind of, if you don't know about it, then go check it out. But if you do know about it, it's one of the things you forget. So hidden gem, if you will.
Would you ever take your kids to Art Hill for like during the winter to sled?
Oh, we've done that already.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Obviously when it was less crowded, and obviously didn't go all the way down because that's a little bit, I mean, our son was 1.5, I think, when we did that. So yeah, you take it easy.
Yeah.
But it's great. Art Hill's awesome. Definitely a good sledding hill for sure.
So what did you say a while ago? Al Phase Fest? The dashboard was at? Who else was on?
So it was like a mini fest. So it started at like 5, I want to say. Doors were at 5. And it was the Ataris, red jumpsuit apparatus, plain white tees, and one of these things is not like the others. Story of the year, then dashboard, and then All American Rejects. So,
dude, that's a sweet festival.
I remember somebody posting about this. I think maybe you did, Al. Did you post about this?
Christina probably did. My wife.
maybe it was her. Yeah. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. We had a great time. We left after dashboard. I've seen All American Rejects, and we're tired people. We're tired all the time. So we just wanted to go home, go to sleep.
So you drove home from a festival?
No. We stayed the night.
Oh, okay.
But I was still a tired boy.
So wait, you didn't see Story?
No, we saw Story. So All American
Dashboard was the headliner. Okay.
Yeah. We left after Dashboard. Yeah, so that's why it was really weird because it was plain white tees, which the last song is like the, swing to the rhythm of love. That tune.
I don't
know that one. Yeah,
you know it. You know it.
I just know Hey There, Delilah.
Yeah, well, it's the song after Hey There, Delilah. I never knew that it was a plain white tees song, and it's not.
Now you got me curious.
Yeah,
let's see.
Probably the Rhythm of Love. It's like the guitar player who looks like what's his face? Mark McGrath.
This one.
Yeah, I was saying you guys know this song for sure.
Yeah, I know this. Head is stuck in the clouds. She begs me to. I never knew.
Yeah, but so the guy on the right is the one who sings "Hey There, Delilah."
Yeah. I didn't know they had two singers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How long's this pretty guy been in the band?
I don't know. Not long enough, dude. He's so pretty. He was pretty that day too. He was wearing a ball cap. I'd still do it.
Quit fooling around. I told her I love
what record label are they
from
on?
Up here.
This is for sure gonna be Black.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Not on the audio, just the video, just on YouTube. Yeah, this is a great song.
Only have tonight.
Banger song, dude.
That is a good song, man.
Morning sun, you're mine, all mine. Play the music low and sway to the rhythm of love.
Their drummer was
Wow, what a
insane,
hook.
dude.
Hey,
That band is so fucking talented. Like,
I'm sure.
I had never thought of it before because I was like, yeah, Play My Tees. They do the Hey There Delilah song. It's like probably some guys and they do whatever, but like these dudes were doing freaking harmonies on everything, and it was real. Like it wasn't to my knowledge, it wasn't tracks. Didn't sound like it. Didn't look like it. And dude, everything sounded really
Even if
good.
it was, who cares? It was still good.
Yeah, it was. Dude,
We're to that point now with tracks, right? Like, it's fine.
No, I just mean like.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
one thing that I do not like is backing tracks for vocals. That's if you need to fill
Still
in
not
with
into
like
that.
no, just because I know you can fucking do it. So just fucking
Well,
do
you
it.
can do it. You can do it.
Well, fucking figure it out.
No, you figured it out, but not everybody can. That's my point. I'm in between on backing vocals. I definitely don't like it on like lead vocals, and I've seen it
No,
done.
of course
and
not.
I'm just like, man, backing one. I'm with you though. Yeah, I mean, you should have somebody who can try and pull it off. But yeah,
if it's like a huge affected thing, like if I'm going to see a band that I know has like big swimmy, like there's
like
it's
Bring
almost
Me
like
Horizon.
yeah, if it's something like that, I get it because there's like some kind of je ne sais quoi that comes with that needs to be there, right?
Right.
But if it's just like a regular 3-part 1-3-5 major harmonies and you can't do them live, don't tour. I don't know, like you're get new guys. I'm serious.
Or just let the lead singer handle it.
or just don't do them. You know what I mean? Like don't throw them on tracks and then fake it. That's fucked. That's some fake shit. And that's like anybody has the ability to do just regular ass harmonies, even if they're bad. You know what I mean? Like there's a way to do it. You can make it sound decent enough to where you don't need those tracks. And that's maybe I'm more staunch on this than I thought because I'm getting my hands are moving. I'm getting
you're getting kind of fired up here, and I can't believe it's you and not me,
bro. I'm wound up on this.
I think I've turned a corner on tracks, man. I think I'm okay with it. And
I don't know,
kind
dude.
of like trying to talk me out of it now.
Well, Patrick, weren't you talking about when we were talking with Mario last episode or the episode before where you were saying somehow Bring Me the Horizon, like nobody on stage is singing, but there's vocals for 2.5 minutes.
We just go, yeah, yeah. We're like, happy song. There's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Where I swear to Christ, there's so many vocals happening and no one on stage they're not even faking it. They're just partying. They're rocking out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, well, we've all accepted it. So I'm okay with that. But
I think it's more acceptable in certain genres now too. Obviously pop, that's a thing. But like I do think that like the more the heavier alternative, I should say, like has like metal roots, has been more prolific in doing that. But tracks have always been a thing for metal bands for I don't know, at least the last 15 years. They become like really important to these live sets because there's so much like synth pad and whatever, and these are the guys who have so
much going on.
Yeah, everybody's been DIYing, doing all their like patch changes and stuff for them off of Pro Tools or Ableton or whatever. What I don't like is like a band like Play My Tees. They're playing like 90s summer beach feel good type music. Like I would feel really uncomfortable if that was fake, just because it's so much more simpler. It's simple in comparison as far as like the structure of it. I feel like any musician worth their weight in salt should be able to do the stuff that they were doing, but they were nailing it. So anyway.
Yeah, you can appreciate it too, because when you have a vocal heavy sort of look, a band that doesn't have as much going on musically speaking and isn't as heavy, and you're not sort of as the listener blasted with a wall of sound. You really do expect those vocals to kind of shine through, and you expect them to be able to pull it off. I was just thinking though, like we've accepted bands like Bring Me the Horizon doing it, but it would be so shitty if you like went to see like the band I was thinking of was Matchbox 20. Like if you went and you're like, whoa, tracks? What are we doing here? Like, wait a minute.
Phoning it in, dude.
Yeah. Why are they doing that? But believe me, I have seen some less heavy bands do it. I won't.
Yeah.
And it was odd, I'll be honest with you, but I remember
band?
talking to somebody in what
band?
Shinedown.
Oh, okay.
There were fake vocals everywhere,
Yeah.
and I was bummed, and I'm not a fan of that band by any means, but I was bummed because I do think that dude is a fucking killer singer.
He's awesome.
So like, whoa, why did he need it? Why did there need? But they're at a big venue, and it's like I kind of feel like at those places, perhaps when you're at a band that's been doing it as long as they have, and you're at the level that they are, you think you can get away with it, and your loyals aren't going to even give a shit anyway.
What venue are we talking
But
about?
I don't know. I mean, that's just my thought process in the
Okay.
moment.
I gotcha.
You know, like I'm, I remember saying something to someone, and they kind of scoffed at me, like, "Will you just have a good time?" I'm like, "I'm having. It's fine." And I felt the same way when I saw.
Who asked you? Will you just have a good time? Because obviously
I'm
they
not
don't
gonna say.
fucking know you.
I'm not
They
gonna
do
say.
not know you.
I party, bro. I party.
Yeah, I know you party, but you this is how you party.
No. You should have seen me at Bill Murray on Wednesday. I had a blast.
Good.
Which we
so you
got to
had your
talk
arms
about that.
crossed
By
and
the
you
way.
might have bobbed your head a couple of times. That was a good
No,
time.
I was rocking out. It was fun. But
Did you
there
tap your
was
foot?
I did. I did this.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, the singer saw me. He was like, "You motherfucker." But I said the same thing when I saw Greta Van Fleet at the pageant. I remember, and again, I was trying not to be a shithead because somebody else bought the ticket for me, and they were expensive tickets. So I was
Yeah.
trying not to be a downer. But I just remember going, "Fuck, man, so much of this is just, where does it end? Where does it begin as far as being real and not real?" And I just
Let me
remember,
ask you
like,
this,
I'm not gonna say anything though.
I think that dude's singing for the most part, at least the stuff that I've seen. If you
Oh,
think
he was singing a lot
otherwise,
of it. He was singing a lot of it. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
But there were times where probably not, and there were times where I was like, I don't know if that guitar player's playing that lead. It just
I don't
felt off to me. But again, I'm not talking shit. It's just what I felt, what I saw. I could be completely wrong, and if I am wrong, I will, stick my own foot in my mouth. But that's just how I felt in the moment. But again, my point
Yeah.
is, like, I was trying not to be a bummer to the other people who were there who don't even think about these things the way that I do. So I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it to myself.
First time I suspected somebody of using tracks, and I think I'm right. I don't want to say like, oh, they're definitely using tracks, but I'm pretty damn sure this dude was using tracks. Was Seven Dust, not the lead singer, but the fucking drummer doing the screaming shit.
That I could see. I remember I've seen live videos of them where I'm kind of like, oh, that sounds really perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, it was like real perfect. And he's turning over this way, and he's like screaming as loud as he possibly can, and he's like not moving his neck like at all. He's just going.
Was he not using the Britney Spears mic?
Maybe he was. I think maybe he was doing. Maybe he was hitting the China or something.
Yeah.
But
that's what he used to do. He used to have the boy band mic.
Yeah, I think you're right. But
so are tracks more acceptable for a drummer because of the constant movement they're having to do? Like, does that change anything?
No.
Okay, I didn't know. I'm just asking.
I mean,
it still goes back to like, if you can't do it well, and I don't want to be that guy who says this, but it's like, if you can't do it live, figure out another way to get your point across.
Okay.
And that is at least my thoughts. Like, especially for something that's so prominent, right? Like, I would get it if it's like even if it is a backup thing, like, in that kind of environment, if it needs to be clear and it needs to, not necessarily stick out, but also have like a good stereo feel that has like effects on it and shit. Like, I get that. But if it's just like a straight up scream thing, like, I don't know, point, you're like, then what are we doing here? Not that people play guitar and sing all the time, right? If you're going to come in and be a scream guy while you're playing the drums, that's your job now. So like, if you can't do your job, figure it the fuck out. But also, I empathize with people who may just be having a really off night, and those tracks may just be there for like, hey dude, I've got like laryngitis, but we have to get through the next 3 nights of gigs, and this is the tool that we have to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's still it's a job. Yeah. So I get that. Sure. Like, if I got to put myself on Do Not Disturb on Teams, am I any less of a employee for somebody. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the same kind of conundrum. I'm getting my work accomplished, but I'm putting a boundary and saying like, hey, this is something I can't do today, is just be open for business for everybody, you know? I don't know.
Well, Patrick, you
That's
mentioned,
one
you
of
mentioned Shine Down, and you were talking about the tracks with them. Do tracks vary based off of the venue too? Like you were saying, them being at a big venue. So if they're playing Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, or if they're playing, one of the smaller venues in St. Louis indoors, does that matter? Does it change their tracks or no?
I mean, I don't think it does. Al, what do you think?
Okay.
I think you're right, Pat. I think it's harder to get away with in smaller venues.
Sure.
I think it's harder, especially if you don't have as much production.
But look, if they're not trying to get away with anything, if the tracks are
Right.
complementary to their sound, they're using them regardless of where they play.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure. If you have
and
enough, if you have enough channels on the board, that is, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I mean, we're friends with bands who play right now, regardless of the size of the venue. If they have tracks, they're using them. You
Right.
know, and that's fine.
Pat,
You know,
Patrick, we were in a band together. We had tracks.
We did.
Like, I mean, we didn't have any like.
We didn't have guitar tracks and vocal tracks, but
we had like synth keyboard
complementary
pads and stuff. Yeah, stuff that we couldn't justify having another member of the band in to accompany. But that also worked as our metronome. So the drummer would have, in one ear, Alex had one ear that was tracks, one ear that was metronome, I think, or some kind of combination. He may have just had it like mixed for himself.
Yeah.
But there'd just be one track and it was synced. No, this is how it worked. And musicians
it's
out
a sweet
there,
science that I'll never understand. I'm not good enough to do it. So
I can explain it really easily.
Okay.
So what you do, and this goes out to any young bands who are looking to just like make a track for yourself. So what you do is you take the tracks that you're going to use, you sync it up to a metronome and a DAW. GarageBand, Logic, Pro Tools, doesn't matter. And you mix down, but you split the tracks to one side and then the metronome to the other side. That way, if you listen to it on an iPod after it's been mixed down, the right ear is going to have tracks and the left ear is going to have metronome. That way, you can take a stereo split cable, right? Like so the 3.5 to 2 of these, basically, right? And plug those into 2 different channels on a mixer, and then you could just send the metronome to the people in the band if you need to, if you have in-ears or whatever, and then the tracks that you're trying to use for accompaniment will be in sync with that, because they play simultaneously, and you can send that to wherever, front of house or however you want to do it. That's the DIY, down and dirty, cheap way to do it, and that's how we did it whenever we were in a band together. And I don't know.
We never got as far as everybody being on the same monitors and having the track, the metronome and the ears and
that's what everybody's doing now.
That would have just.
That's what everybody does now.
I know, as everybody does it. Yeah.
I built a rig because it was like, dude, the stuff is so much cheaper than it used to be. That like, whenever I do like the shirts, we'd have like a little trio thing that we do. Shout out to the shirts, little plug.
Hello.
But I just have a mixer that is digital that I can send outs to headphone amps for us, and then I can have main outs go to the mains. And that way and it's down to a science now to where like everybody has an app on their phone and they can go in and mix their, like, however they want to hear it in their in-ears or headphones. You can mix it however you want it to sound, and you can be absolutely comfortable with being on stage or wherever you need to be. It's great, dude. And it saves your hearing a ton. I mean, it is. Yeah. Anyway, not to get too nerdy.
I'm deaf for a reason. So
what?
I'm deaf for a reason.
You didn't get the joke. That's okay.
I got it. I got the joke. If we had ever played that last EP live, we would have had to have done it that way. But we never played it, so didn't have to.
Yeah, I like that EP, dude.
Thanks, man. Me too.
A lot of cool shit on there.
Bunch of bullshit.
It's just always funny to me because we've had this track conversation so many times, and you explaining to me, Patrick, how they work and all that, and most of the time it's still over my head. But it goes back to like people that are musicians and in bands probably look at this differently. But for a standard just a fan of a band that's going to a show, they could care less what about a track.
Right.
It's like, I'm going for the experience. I don't care if they're singing or not. I can still hear their voice.
Yeah. But here's the deal: is you would definitely notice if it's not there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that they really like it; it's that they like it when it's there.
Yeah.
They don't like it whenever it's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you can definitely notice. And like for me, if it would have gotten to a point where with the band we would have moved to everybody being on the monitors and controlling our sounds, it would have been a huge thing for me to. It would have been a hurdle for me. It would have taken a lot of time for me to get used to it and like get comfortable with. Much like it was when I started using in-ears, dude. I was just like, whoa, this is because I was so used to just getting blasted by the monitors and everybody being loud on stage. And that's how I dealt with it for so many years. So it took a long time. My favorite thing I ever saw was that Michael Jackson documentary that came out I think it was like right before or right after he died, the one where he was going to go on that final tour, and it was
This is it.
Yeah. And when he puts the in-ears in for the first time and he doesn't get it, he's like, wait a minute. So what am I hearing? Is it just me? They're like, yeah, Mike, like it's your voice and it's in your ears. He's like, no.
Yeah.
I need to it took him a long time to even like process the idea. It's like, so wait, you're telling me that I have nothing but me right here? Like, if you want, we can add other things, Mike. Like, he was just like such a boomer about it. It's just like, it was the coolest thing to see, because I was going through the same thing at the same fucking time that documentary came. I was like, I don't understand this. I don't want this.
Yeah.
And then I eventually started cheating and taking one out and having them give me monitors and like, yeah.
So
It's terrible for you, I know.
Yeah,
but
it's real bad
for you.
I'm just as guilty of it. Whenever I was doing the cover band thing, I would take one out and I would take the right one out because the drummer was on my left, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to take one out, I'm going to take the right one out. But anyway, when Brook Royal played the main stage at Point Fest, I don't know, this is like 5 years ago now. We had a guy running monitors for us, and we all had our in-ears and stuff, rented really nice packs, had good mixes and all that. And I took one out during the show, and our monitors guy goes, "Put your fucking ear back in right the fuck now." I want to say that was Grady, but it could have been somebody else.
Fuck Grady. I'll tell that.
Yeah, he was right though. He's right.
He's right.
Put it in right.
He's right.
And he said, if you need something, tell me. It's like, don't take one out.
For me, it's never about hearing. It's just feeling. And, when I would say that, some guys would be like, dude, you need to be able to hear what you need to hear. I'm like, no, I get that. It's a feeling though. You got to trust me on this. And like,
I think I know where you're coming from on that. One thing that helps on that a lot is setting up crowd mics. So you have mics that are specifically like faced towards the crowd. And that's whenever I was doing that with Fivefold, we had crowd mics set up, and it was like, I'd run in-ears for a long time. And that was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, this feels great. This is literally just everything attenuated down, but also like mixed the way that I want it to. It's exactly what you want it to be. The other fix on that is if you ever do get molds made, like actual, like, these guys, I don't know if you can see, but
we can see it.
They're fit to your ears. They make some that have holes in them, like filters, what they call them. So it actually lets a small amount of sound back in to where you can kind of mix that with the ambient loudness of the room, and that helps a lot too for a lot of people. So
that would ultimately be what I would need for sure. Yeah, it's so funny. That's always what I was looking forward to. And some venues would do it for you, even if you had in-ears, and some would be like, no, dude, we're not giving you monitors too. You have ears. Like, what am I, like, please just, you trust me on this. The only two venues who were not sticklers about it were the Pageant, and surprisingly, and the Duck Room. The dude at the Duck Room, that old guy, I don't know if you've ever played a show there, but that old engineer that's been there forever, that dude is my hero. Dude, he's made me feel the best I've ever felt on a stage, as far as hearing myself while still hearing everyone else. And like, but I say that, and we played a show at the Pageant. I stage dove with the first fucking song, lost my pack, my ears get ripped out, and I had to do the next song without them. And I remember seeing a video of the song. I'm like, oh, yeah, I think I could hear myself better with the in-ears. I'm an asshole, but fuck it. Whatever. It's principle, damn it.
Yeah.
So you went and seen Bill Murray. What night was that? Was that last night?
Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday night. Is that the
Fucking
first time
great,
you've
dude.
seen them? Is that
Oh,
the
yeah.
first time you've seen them live?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
one of the best live show. Like they're one of the best bands I've seen live for a band that's new to me in a long time. Like I was blown away, but I do like them. So I went in being a fan. It's not like I didn't know their songs or anything like that. But yeah, they were really good, and they sounded really good, really good. Their saxophone player, she stole the show, dude. Stole the show. Dude, she rocks. She sings beautifully. Her saxophone playing is insane, dude. Like the whole band was good. Don't get me wrong, but for me, just she stole the show. She was so good, and she was their merch girl. She was like at the merch table the entire time, and she didn't look like she was in a band. She didn't look like she was a part of anything, and she just gets up on stage with like insane confidence and rips like her first saxophone solo, and then you hear her sing. You're like, oh man, this is insane. Have you seen them, Mel?
I have not.
Okay.
I couldn't make it out on Wednesday night, but I'll be damned, dude. I really wish that more groups, I wouldn't say bands, but just groups would involve more wind instruments, dude. When you get somebody on stage who can really just like fucking pop off a solo on the bitch whistle, dude, it is fucking insane, dude. I love it. Love it. Cause I came from that world, I mean,
Yeah.
I played trumpet all through college, you know what I mean? So like I've heard some really insane players. I've been
Dude, a
taught
fellow
by
trumpeter, man. Hell yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I
Well, I
was
remember when
okay.
I got introduced to them, when I first heard, because the lead singer came from Attack.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like these preconceived notions of what they're going to sound like and what they should sound like based on where the band came from. But I remember hearing, a little bit of a heavier sound, a little bit more of a, you know, chuggy chug sound mixed with the saxophone. And I remember going, is this on purpose? Are they making a joke? Are they trying to be ironic? Or do they really think like, no, this is adding to the music and this is what we're going with? And after I listened to more and more, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is their sound. This is them. Right. And I would have liked it either way. I don't really care. If they're being ironic, fine, fuck it, you got me. I like it, so it doesn't matter. But like I remember I started to realize like, oh no, this is the sound for them. Like this is what they wanted, and it's so good, dude. But I agree with you. That's my point of telling that is like, yeah, I agree. Like I was listening to Boss Tones today, and I love that band.
I
And
never thought I would be talking to Patrick saying that you love a band that has horns in it. I don't know why. I just
I
feel
love me some ska,
it
man.
feels weird.
Yeah. Some of the first bands I ever saw as a kid, as a teenager, like I was going to punk shows, and that eventually turned into punk ska shows. One of the first bands I ever saw in this city was Mustard Plug, and they're like old school ska, punk ska. Yeah, no, I dig the horns, man. But when you hear it with a band like Bill Murray, it kind of throws you for a minute. It kind of throws you. But
Okay, can we pull up Mustard Plug?
Sure.
I've
Al,
never
do you
heard
know who
them
Mustard
before in
Plug
my
is?
life.
I've heard the name. I'm
Okay.
not familiar with their works.
It sounds
Their
disgusting. I'm not gonna
curriculum
lie.
vitae, as you will.
All right, you get the picture.
So we go from Yellow Card, who has a great story, to their music video, to Mustard Plug, who just says, "You want to get a bunch of friends together and make a video about nothing? Let's do it."
Well, their name's
man.
Mustard Plug, so I'm guessing that name stems from like you grab the mustard, like a mustard jar, but like the French's thing with the spout on it, and like you open it and there's a plug of dried mustard in the top, like the grossest part of any. I don't like mustard, but like that, the thinking of a mustard plug is disgusting.
I had mustard before we started the podcast.
You got heartburn or something?
No, I love mustard.
I'm a mustard fan. I had some mustard earlier on some bratwurst.
Yeah, I'm anti condiment in general. Like I don't do mayo. I rarely will do
I
ketchup
definitely
or
don't do
barbecue
mayo.
sauce. Yeah.
Ketchup is disgusting.
I can fuck with ketchup sometimes. Like if I got a real dirty plate of fries and I need to sweeten them up because they got, you know, little goo goo juice on them still, I'm gonna dip those motherfuckers.
All right.
All right. Brandon Jennison stated in an interview that their band name originated when a guy in the early stages of the band was making a sandwich, and that crusty stuff that forms on the mustard bottle when you put it
Oh
in the
my
fridge
God,
without wiping it
no
off first
way.
gave him an interesting idea for a name.
No way. Did you really call that? That's hilarious.
I did, dude.
I mean, it makes sense.
It's so good.
It reminds me. I seen on social media a couple of days ago, somebody had posted and said, "Does the band Hooba Stank not realize you can name your band anything?"
Yeah.
And I've
How
always
rude.
wondered, does anybody know where that band name came from?
On it.
Some guy named Hooba didn't wash his socks, you know, like it's
They stank. Yeah, I get it.
Hooba Stank. I'll think of it like a Southern
Okay.
boy. Like
Hooba Stank is a Californian, or in the area that I grew up, it's a slang term for someone who has a shoe fetish, such as Dan Estrin, Hooba Stank's guitar player, and myself, revealed vocalist Doug Robb in a 2002 interview. We have lots of shoes.
bro,
Patrick's Hooba Stank.
did I just call that?
Is that what you said?
I said somebody's socks stink, dude.
Oh.
No, but Patrick is a Hooba Stank, if that's how you say it. In
I am a
sentence.
Hooba Stank, yeah.
You
I
have
have a
you
shoe.
have a shoe
You got
fetish.
I'm a
stinky feet?
I'm a sneakerhead, dog. How was Hooba Stank name? Mispronunciation. Oh, so it's a mispronunciation of a German street slang for someone who owns many sneakers,
Huh.
or a word the band came up with while they were joking around.
Sick band name, bro.
Sick, yeah.
Sick band name. I don't know. I've been in some bands with real weird names. So
Where
I was
did
in a band. I was in a band called Faraday, and we literally played one show. So everybody makes fun of me and says, "How long was that band around?" Faraday.
Shit, Faraday. I forgot about that.
Yeah. We literally played a show, and then we're like, "Yeah, fuck this, we're done."
I should probably know this, but where did the name Brookerola come from?
So I wasn't in the band when it came up, but I believe it was a street name.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I thought too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was. I think that's where they like were rehearsing. I wasn't. I was
Yeah.
a wee young lad at the time. I was probably in high school still whenever they were jamming. Excuse me.
So live bands. Patrick, you want to talk about our favorite live bands that we've seen?
Yeah,
I'm interested to hear yours. So you just said Bill Murray. I'm gonna say you're gonna say Beartooth is on there too.
they
Or
would
no?
be, sure. Yeah, no, they definitely could be. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think for me, I mean, just the bands that I've seen the most would be Deftones and Incubus, which I think both are great live bands. I think some people disagree with me on Deftones, which is fine. Actually, Incubus. Al, are you an Incubus fan?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Have we been to an Incubus show at the same time? I want to feel like I feel like I've seen you at a bigger Incubus show.
Probably at a Point Fest. I believe I've played a Point Fest where they were headlining.
Oh, that was the one where I got roofied. We won't get into that.
Yeah. So I saw them then. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
This was coming off of Light Grenades, I believe, which my
Yep.
only disappointment was that Dig is like Dig, and I know that's like dumb and it's like cliche or whatever, but like I'm more into the radio hits than I am into the, you know, science and all that, anything before or whatever. Like I don't want to say before, but like they had radio hits ahead
Fungus
of time.
Among Us. You're
Yeah,
not
that
a
stuff,
fun guy.
It does the more funky stuff is cool. It
Sure.
just doesn't do it for me as far as the songwriting thing is concerned. That's just not where I'm at. But they played Dig, but he did, you know, they did it acoustic, and I was like,
Yeah.
man,
I'm
really
not with
want
that, man.
I want the whole fucking shebang, dude. I
Me too.
want the whole thing, dude. And I get it. Like it makes sense. Then you can bring it down like of a whole step or something, and it wouldn't be awkward, you know. And it was still awesome. I mean, he's Brendan Boyd. Like, I mean, he's amazing. And another beautiful man who just never he kind of ages, but like he ages like fine wine, dude.
Aging's looked good on him though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where it's not like you go, whoa, what the fuck happened to him? It's like, oh no, he looks older now. Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I want Dig the full version, dude. That song that song was one of my wedding songs. Like, I want the whole thing.
Oh no shit. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
Well,
Sorry,
so okay,
Incubus.
so real quick side note here, Patrick, you said the Point Fest you got roofied,
Yeah,
and
man. I've already
it
told the
reminded me.
story on the podcast. Okay,
No, I
good.
know, but it reminded me. Did you see that they named today Sunny Sandoval Day? I think it was today. What is it? Where is
Sandoval,
he
yeah,
from?
San Diego.
San
Yeah.
Diego. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I just remembered that he was involved in your story. So
I mean, yeah, he was a part of it. Good for him. Glad he's got a day. Glad he's got a day.
Sweet story, bro.
Yeah,
Good day.
I like
Sweet
Sunny.
day. Sweet day, bro.
yeah.
Uh,
My one of my OGs for like favorite.
hold on, before I forget. I'm sorry.
sorry.
So the whole
Go,
reason,
go,
no,
go.
I'm gonna forget this. The whole reason
Go.
I asked Al if he liked Incubus is Al. I know more people that dislike Incubus than I do like Incubus.
You don't have enough friends, clearly.
I've had so many band dudes, seriously, like but you know how band dudes are, but like band dudes
Yeah.
being like, Incubus, really? Like, yeah, dude, what? Really?
Yeah, how do
I'm
you
weird
not?
because I like Incubus. Why is that weird? Like,
Yeah. It's a popular band. Have you heard them? Like,
I've had so many dudes be like, that's your like one of your. I'm like, yeah.
yeah.
What am I
I
missing here?
think I don't know why that's become so divisive, but I do have the experience of people saying like, well, I don't like the newer stuff, but I really
Fair.
like Fungus Among Us or whatever. Even
Oh,
if they're
God.
like A Crow Left the Murder or whatever, I'm like, that's cool. But I like all their stuff in general. I'm a really big fan of the radio hits because I think they're good songs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even if
Right.
they don't like them, like I'm a fan of them. I think they're great songs. They have a good message, and like the production is insane, and just the building blocks of it. Definitely, the parts are more than this. I'm sorry, it's more than the sum of its parts, and I think that's really rare. And yeah. Anyway.
But I'll say this too, to expand upon what you just said. When they started having radio hits, those records that those songs were on, there are other songs on those records that weren't radio hits that could have been.
Yep.
That's why I always tell people, like, it's cool you like the singles, it's cool you like Drive, but you need to listen to the entire Make Yourself record. It's cool you like Megalomaniac, but you need to listen to the entire Crow Left the Murder record. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
All right, I'm geeking out. What were you gonna say, Colt? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say like one of my OGs for live bands is gonna be Papa Roach.
It's so funny you said that. So our buddy Bond just sent me. We always send video clips, like YouTube clips of live performances of bands. But he just sent me their performance at Hellfest 2023. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And he's like, dude, we always do this. We always go back to every year. One of us will text the other Alexis on Fire's performance from Reading in 2015. Like, just a reminder, like, got to watch it. And he's like, dude, this is up there for me with that performance at Reading in 2015. Like, Papa Roach nailed this. He's like, I know they're good. We've seen them 1,000 times, but like, they fucking nailed this. I'm like, well, of course they did. Like, they're like, and I eventually got around to watching it. Started it yesterday and then finished it tonight before we started. And yeah, like it's what I really love about them is the humility in being like, well, dude, we have to play the old stuff. They're not one of these bands that's not going to play the hits, that's not going to play the old stuff because they're over it. Like, they're going to play all of it. But why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, how like, what's the easiest way to get a crowd into your show? Saying the words "cut my life into pieces" a million times and then go into the song. Like, it's a win-win situation. Go ahead, Colt. Sorry again, geeking out.
No,
but yeah, he sent me that video, so you guys we don't have to play any of it unless you want me to. I could look up like a song from it, but definitely check that out, especially you, Colt, since you like them so much. But Papa Roach at Hellfest 2023. Plus, it's one of those festivals where you're like, Jesus Christ, look at all these people. What in the fuck?
Where was Hellfest at?
Hellfest, I believe now is held in France, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to pull it up for fun. Keep going, though, while I do with it.
Al, do you have a favorite?
How do you feel about John Mayer live? I know you just saw him, right?
Yeah. That's John Mayer is probably, man, I don't know if it's like, John Mayer is definitely like the most like, fuck, I suck. Like, I want to do this, but I suck person that I see. But just because I feel like he has all the things. He's pretty. He writes great songs. He's super actually talented on the guitar. And just the whole package is great, and he has really good production when he comes through, with a good like story to it as he's going. And I'm a sucker for like really good production. Like I want to see like, I want pyro, I want lighting that's insane, so I take that into consideration as well, even if
Yeah.
I tell you what, if I were born whatever 20-30 years younger, or older, what do you
Older.
know what I mean? Or, yeah, I would be the biggest Kiss fan ever, because that's like right up my alley.
Yeah.
But I would say probably top 5, definitely Paramore was one of the best shows I've
Always
ever
good.
seen. I mean, she's unstoppable. Like there's no wrong things that are done in her live performance really ever that I've ever seen. I've seen them 3 times now, and like
Yeah,
that
she's a
definitely
freak. Fuck her. She's
yeah,
so
I
good.
know.
Pisses me off.
One show I've seen Foo Fighters like 5 times. That's one of my favorite bands for sure, and they're always on top of it, but that's more of like an energy thing than it is a technically good thing, you know what I mean? Like, Dave Grohl just basically screams everything nowadays. It's not as much singing as it is just yelling, which is, that's his vibe, that's his color palette that he uses, and I respect that. There is one show, and this was Lollapalooza 2011, and it's like I want to say Billboard has like a video of it on YouTube now. Like it's like a historic performance. This was I believe the last night of Lollapalooza. It was pouring rain. There's 100,000 people watching, and Dave Grohl comes up to the mic and he goes, "Fuck this rain," and he starts playing a song. I was like, God damn it, dude, this is so cool. And they played the whole set, dude. They played for like 2 hours. It was amazing. And even though everybody was rained on, miserable, whatever, the vibe was so high because he just knew how to pull it back together and say like, let's do this, and the performance was really, really good too there.
We always go back when it comes to a rain show. We always go back to Goo Goo Dolls. Yep, I figured you're.
Oh yeah, Iris. That's
so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's like
when you look at it from this angle, like that's a wall of rain.
Oh yeah. That right.
Like, do you think that all the stage crew and everything is like, guys, it's pouring down rain, we do not need to be playing? Or do you think they're like, no, fuck it, let's do it, let's go?
A lot of times they'll be kind of set up for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that was a show in their hometown too, so I don't think there was any way they were going to get them off stage.
Right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly.
Depending on the venue, depending on the stage crew and the equipment, rain can usually, or at least rain for a disclosed period of time, could be okay. Once you see lightning, done.
Yeah.
Because then, or if it's like tornado warning kind of thing, especially if we got so many people outdoors, there's like no shelter for everybody. Yeah, that's when you're like, yeah, sorry, we got to cut it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised how much they're willing to let some of this insanely expensive equipment get wet for the sake of a show,
I think that one was worth it for sure.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm going to give you a little bit of this.
Oh, is this that Hellfest?
Hellfest is in France, by the way. I looked it up. That's what I thought, but Francais.
How many people?
Oh, just wait.
There's no possessions, only obsession. I don't need that shit. Alright, y'all, I wanna see you go motherfucking crazy. Go!
Show the crowd, damn it.
What those? I feel like that's a band that lives for the crowd. Like their shows are literally for the crowd, not for them. So playing the old stuff is the way to go. Like
Oh, for
to
sure.
for that, you know what I mean?
They opened with a new song and they went promptly went into Getting Away with Murder. Like immediately played something people would know.
Yeah.
I just want a crowd shot.
There
There we
was,
go.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
oh my God.
Everything is nothing. Emptiness isn't everything. Reality is willing to support your dream. With the flesh and the blood that you call yourself. Stepping inside out. The big black coat. Taking money. Put it up like it is your blood. For seconds. Think you never could have feel the war. Take it. I'm when you learn the best lesson.
Yeah. Insane. They actually played. I wouldn't necessarily call them one of my favorite live bands. I have a ton of respect for them. I think they do what they do and they do it so well. And that's why they're still doing it. They actually have one of my favorite live shows that I've been to. They played Pops right after their second record came out.
That would be dope.
No shit.
And there were kids jumping from the balcony, crowd surfing from the balcony. There were people getting thrown from the back bar to the front. Like it was madness. And it was so cool to see.
Was it just them? Do you remember who else was playing with them?
So obviously it was their show, but I remember a band called Die Trying opened.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that band? They had like a brief moment on the radio with a single they had, but yeah, it kind of just went nowhere after that. But I discovered them at that show. I didn't know who they were because back then we didn't have that thing called the internet necessarily that we could just discover we could discover 100 new bands in 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, Die Trying. Another show, again, it's like a moment thing, but I've only seen the person once, but it was so much fun. And I'd love to see him again. I don't know if it would be as much fun because it's been so much time has passed, but Jay-Z, dude, I had such a blast at Jay-Z's show.
Oh, I bet.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. So much fun. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not the biggest Jay-Z fan. I own a few records, but I'm not like crazy about them like I am some other guys. But yeah, it was so much fun. Kid Cudi's another one, but Kid Cudi's one of my favorites, so that doesn't necessarily count. But yeah, I have like those regular, like my favorite artists that I've seen several times. And then there are the ones that kind of like, they surprise you, like, oh, I saw this band once and it kind of blew me away type thing. Nothing More is one of those bands. Like, wasn't a fan necessarily until I saw him, and then I saw him. I was like, oh my God, this band rules. But there's this list that I saw of 15 of the best new artists to see live. And I thought it'd be good to share because I don't know any of these bands.
Best new artist?
Yeah. Well, they say new, but so bands, I guess they're newer bands. Not Papa Roach. We'll say that.
And you don't know any of them?
The only one I know is that band Oxymorons because we talked about them on a previous episode.
Yeah.
Remember they picked like their favorite new metal records or something like that. One of those things. But yeah, every other one I have no idea who they are. Al, do you have any other ones?
Any favorite bands or artists to see live?
Yeah.
I saw Justin Bieber like 10 years ago.
Would love it.
It was insane.
I would do it.
It is one of my favorite shows I've ever seen. And
imagine.
like I said, I'm a sucker for production, but also just like the performances were really good. And he had a few fuck ups, which was like, okay, cool. Like the dude's human. Like he's not doing everything perfectly, and it's not tracks, or at least
Really?
it didn't seem. Oh yeah,
Like vocal fuck ups.
It was just like you could tell like he was sharp sometimes, just
Oh, wow.
a little bit sharp or a little bit flat or something, just like intonation things. And that's me. I was like, okay, maybe they're running an auto tune on him for some stuff or whatever, but like for the most part, it's the dude, which it's like, he's running around doing the stuff, like, but you could tell also by his choreography at the time, that it was form fitted to keep him singing rather than like do a Britney Spears thing where it's like it's all tracks and she's just moving around. It's like impossible to do, what they're doing. So, I mean, dude, there was some of their dancers were also like trapeze artists, and or maybe it's different people with just different times. I don't know, but they had an entire trampoline that was probably, I don't know, 25 feet by 50 feet that was in front of the stage, right? And during a song, they had like 4 people go on this trampoline, and then it rose, it suspended up like, I don't know, 25 feet above the floor, and they're jumping on the trampoline doing whatever backflips and all the stuff. And like, that's part of the show. There's no net or nothing. It was insanity, dude. It was so cool. It
Yeah.
was so cool. It was
feel like-
very, it was very much like reminiscent of watching This Is It, you know, with Michael Jackson, where like the production is just so high, where it's like you have to do all these things, like Pink does like the whole you know what I'm talking about, she like flies around the stadium.
Oh yeah.
Or that she's playing in, and it's like, man, they're going through so many lengths. And Pink's another one that like, she really sings during the whole motherfucking thing. She's her, you know. Like, she's her, she's doing it no matter what. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Justin Bieber, I put on the list. I wasn't before. It's not something that I pick up on the daily or anything like that. I'm trying my best to get more and more into country, just because it's one of those things that I've always kind of put on the back burner and said, like, yeah, country's fucking stupid, dude. I'm not listening to that. It's fucking everybody talking about their trucks and give me a cold beer in a truck, and my dog ran away, my wife left me, but you know what? Hey, I got my brothers, and it's gonna be okay. That kind of stuff. I've always kind of given it that personification.
I mean, you're pretty much spot on, but okay.
You know,
I'm joking. I don't want to piss off any more country folks. Okay.
Al would love what was that chick's name?
Last night we let the liquor talk.
Okay.
That's been in my head ever since we played it.
So you know it's actually a good hook.
Oh, it's a great hook. I said it. I just can't stand his vocals. But yeah, it's a good fucking hook, man. That's Morgan Wallen. He's had the #1 record for like 20 weeks or something. It's insane.
Doesn't that dude have like he's got a literature issue there. He's got a
questionable thing that he's done.
He's well, you know what? I'm not look, I'm putting my foot down. You say the N-word, you deserve to be called out for saying it.
I agree. I thought you were going to defend him. I was like,
whoa, no.
What's about to happen right now?
Just took a turn.
You know what? At first I was thinking of sugarcoating it, but you know what? I'm not going to. You know,
there's no reason to sugarcoat it, dude. It's stupid.
I don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't fuck with that.
Silly.
And
yeah, we talked about it when it happened, and we had Joel on right after it happened. And Colt brought up the fact, like, yeah, after this happened, like his streams went up by like 150% or something. Yeah. And Joel was astonished. He was like, "Are you serious?" Yeah. We're like, yeah. Like, what kind of world are we living in? I'm like, that one, the one where you could do that and then profit from it.
We're living in a world where, case in point, and we can get into this, you know, this last thing here. We're living in a world where people are so enthralled with memeing about people dying in a fucking submarine rather than having an ounce of fucking empathy for them.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a way to get into this, and
I've seen and I've shared it, but like, I keep thinking to myself, like, man, this is fucked. Like, these people died.
It's 100% fucked.
Death, and it sucks, and it's awful, and the circumstances are shit, and like, there's just no good way about it. I want to say that, like, you know, joking about it all is you know, copium at some point, or, you know, just coping with, you know, something really terrible. But it's like, you know, I don't know. I want to bring it back to something also tragic. Maybe this does not even come close to it matching, but it's like, you know, people weren't joking about 9/11 the next day and feeling good about it. Like, before we even knew if these people were okay, we're just like making all, I say we as a, you know, general people, like, I don't know.
Society. I thought about Kobe Bryant's death.
Yeah.
Well,
and I thought about people memeing about that. And I was like, hey, come on. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But even that, it seemed like it took a little longer before people were doing it. I mean, I don't know. It's just social media. Like, people feel like through social media that they're so distanced from things that it doesn't it's not even it's like it's not real to people anymore. Like a meme isn't real. It's just
Right.
a thing that you put out there about something that happened that didn't happen to you. You know, it's weird.
Unfortunately, there's some unintelligent people, vast majority, I would say, using social media. And I was going to ask you guys to open the show, but we talked about the music video, but I was going to say, like, what do you believe in more, bad karma or going to hell? Go ahead and tell me, both of you.
I don't believe that hell exists, so I would say bad
Okay,
karma.
so you believe in bad?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say like on a spiritual level, but like what goes around comes around kind of level.
Yeah, I got you.
You use the word karma. I just want to make sure that.
Well, it's thrown around. It's thrown around very nonchalantly. So yeah, but it's good to know what it means to you. Colt, hell or karma?
I'm gonna say bad karma just because I'm like one of those people on the fence of like nobody really knows what is going on after we're done. So yeah.
So my question was going to be, how much bad karma is coming to those folks posting these memes? Like, good God, like, let it go for a little bit longer before you try to be funny. It's like, and I get it. You know what sucks? And this is what sucks is immediately when the story broke, what you saw from even mainstream news outlets was that the submarine, whatever you want to call it, was full of, or was, the people on board were of a significant amount of wealth. So immediately people took to that and go, serves them right, spent their money the wrong way, or whatever, however they want to think about it. And I was just like, hey, doesn't matter.
They're still humans.
That's still somebody's dad, still somebody's mom, still somebody like
the other thing that I've seen too, which just made me want to vomit, was they were saying, well, these are billionaires, so they probably have their they have their fingers on the pulse of a lot of things, and they probably know a lot of things, and that this was all done on purpose.
Oh, like they fake their deaths? Is that what you're saying?
That like they were killed on purpose, basically. Like this whole thing happened on purpose because they knew too many things.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a little.
I'm not saying I agree with that argument by any means.
No,
I've seen
so many
argument.
conspiracies.
It's just ridiculous. Like, I don't know.
Did you guys see what James Cameron said?
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, hey, bro, are you an engineer, or did you hire engineers?
What do you say? I didn't see it.
Well, I want to say this ahead of time here. James Cameron is in. I read up a little bit about it. Like, James Cameron apparently is like highly regarded in underwater.
No, I get that.
I highly regarded. He's like one of like a handful of people that are, have done stuff like this with success and like understands a lot of it.
And believe me, the way when he was talking, I was like, oh yeah, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. But to do it in such a dismissive sort of like, he had the tone of like, well, somebody screwed up. It's kind of goes back to, it's like, hey man, can you give it a minute? Like, I get like it's important for you to kind of you feel you're in the know. So for those of us not in the know, obviously me, like you want to inform me, but it's like your tone is a little bit weird to me. But I don't know. But I get no. I mean, I definitely was getting the sense that he kind of has an idea, but at the same time, not even 24 hours after he does that interview, it comes out like, well, probably wasn't an implosion. Was something else. So it's like, I don't know.
So
but who knows?
Now I read that they've actually had 3 of these excursions that have been done successfully in the past couple of years. Is that right? This isn't the first time that they've done this.
No, I mean, I think I've done it before. Yeah. I mean, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I would never get in a submarine.
In the grand scheme of things, that's really weird. For one, the ocean freaks me the hell out.
It terrifies me.
But 2, like, to get in a submarine to go down and look at a ship that sank years and years ago, I don't know. I mean, I guess, and to pay $250,000 a pop to do it, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I guess if you have the money and it's just something you want to do, okay. I mean, I don't fault you for it, but
I mean, people will pay money to fucking land pig shit. So I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's the appeal is there for some folks. You just, like I said, submarines scare the fucking shit out of me, and so does the ocean.
Yeah, that's gonna be